Okay, so the next topic that we are supposed to do is to, to see encapsulation in Python, right? How to perform encapsulation. And encapsulation, what we said, is about data hiding, okay? Or your data, you don't want data to be accessed by subclasses, okay? So one more thing, okay, okay. So we'll take an example, okay, simple inheritance example. We'll create a class called library, and we'll create a simple function called print data or something, okay? Print data, or I'll say here lib data, okay? Let's make it as lib data. Okay, and I will say here print lib data from library. Okay, and now we have another class called books, and we will say def book data, and we'll say print book data from books. Okay, and I'll create another class called class test def test data. Okay, print test data from test. Okay, I missed to put the quotation. Let me put the quotation here. Okay, and here, okay, and here I'll put another class, another method. I will say get data, okay, and I will say here print get data from books. Okay, now these are three independent functions, right? Okay, now in get data, what I'll do is I will call your library dot lib data. Okay, I'm calling library dot lib data from library. Now this is not derived or parent class. Okay, they're different class. Now let me create a book object. Okay, and now when I say here, okay, you don't have to pass any value, right? So you can have a blank box. Now I'll call b1 dot get data. And when you run it, okay, so yeah, I need to pass. Okay, so this is your line number 19. Okay, lib data. So here I'll pass self here to indicate that it's an object. Okay, so what happened? I'm able to access. In fact, okay, if I remove it and if I say dot, see lib data is accessible here. Okay, so you can call member not only in derived class. Yesterday we were more focused on inheritance. That's why we saw how to call in the derived class. But you can call this from different class also. Okay, so these are called as public members. So what we have done yesterday and what we have done so far today, they're all called as public members. Okay, so you have public members. So it could be public variable or method. Okay, so all of them are. Now, if you want to hide it, you don't want anybody to access. So we use something called as private members. And you have something called as protected members. Okay, private members and protected members. So there are three types of data public, protected, private. So it's like when you construct a swimming pool in your home and you say public pool, then anybody can go and use your swimming pool, right? You have no control over that because you said it public. So I've used these members public, so anybody can call. So class library has a lib data, which is public, and book, which is not even derived class, okay, can use it. Okay. So we call this as public members. Okay. Now you have something called as protected, but protected concept, okay, is not enforced. In concept is there in Python, but it is not enforced. It is very much enforced in C++, Java, but not so much in Python. So your protected members concept is there here, but not enforced. Okay, and they are represented with underscore sign, one underscore member name. Okay, so if I have to make this lib data protected, I will add one underscore before. Okay, one underscore before the name means it is protected. Now what happens? Okay, earlier when we did lib, right, it was shown lib, right? Now when you do C dot, you see lib? No. Okay, so logically, not practically, logically, protected members can only be accessed by classes which are derived. Okay, logically, these members can only be called by the derived classes. Okay, so this is not derived class, right? So when we did dot, right, we don't see lib, isn't it? Because we made it protected. But earlier when we had not put underscore. Okay, now you see lib data is there. And when you make it protected, it's not there, it's not visible. But what it says is, if you run it, okay, it says underscore lib, right? The name got changed. Okay, so underscore lib is accessible. It is not visible. Okay, so if you get confusion, I can put underscore also and see lib data is visible here, right? Because lib data is visible because the library has it, okay, and it is accessible. Now, if I have to make it double underscore here, okay, now when you try to ask double underscore, okay, lib data is not there. And even if you try to add lib data, okay, it says has no attribute. Okay, now even if you make this derived, okay, still you will not have access. So private members are represented with double underscore. Okay, and they are not accessible outside the class. So it's like protected means, okay, we are saying that only my family members will be able to access. My friends and family members will only be able to access. Private means no, only I can access. Or your family members can access. Means the members within the class can access. So if I declare this as lib data here, if I have another function here, okay, def get data. Now get data can access lib data. Okay, it can access self dot, I have to do self dot, right? You can access lib data. So the objects in the same class can access, but objects in other class cannot access. So if you declare as as private, except your own class member. No other class can accept, will not be able to access, even if it is derived class, even if it is like child class. Okay. Your protected member, the concept is there. So concept is there, but practically it is not implemented. So practically, protected members behave like public only. Practically, so far Python has not strictly implemented, so it behaves like public only. What it means is, if you declare a protected member, then it is available only for its derived classes, not other classes. But public data can be called by anyone. Even if the class is not a derived class, it can call. So public data can call be anyone. Protected data, logically, it should only be called by its own derived classes, not by any classes. But actually, practically, it behaves like public only. And private is members are accessible only by its own member. It's not accessible outside the class. So I told you, if parent class doesn't want child class to have access, it will declare those members as private. If you declare a private, then children classes will not be able to see, will not be able to know. Okay, so yesterday we were talking about benefits. Today we are talking about, no, if parent doesn't want you to give, then they will say it's a private, I can't give you.
Private, if it is private or protected or like public, we can use as it is only. Just it is like we can't use
Accessible, yes, only accessibility.
Class.
Yes, accessibility.
For other class, it is not accessible, but anyway,
Yeah, locally it is available. Yes. Okay. So yes. So no underscore before means public. Okay. One underscore before means protected. Two underscore before means private. Okay. So practically, speaking, only we have public and private. So yeah, public and private. Protected is just for the concept. Okay. Okay. So with that, we complete our class discussion. Okay. So what we'll do, we will continue knowing about text data, and then we'll come to CSV. Okay. And then we'll take a small break and come back with CSV, one example. Okay. With class and CSV example. Okay. That's the plan for today. So let's move on to next file. Okay. Here I will talk about how to work with external files. Okay. Now we are, so far we were all within the Python scope. Now we are going beyond Python. We are going to, let's say, something outside Python. Now, when you want to go outside your home, right, outside what you know, first you need to know where to go. Then you need to know how to go, right? So same thing happens here. Okay, when you connect anything, okay, whether it is text file, CSV file, or later we will see database. So we'll see how to connect and how to connect to these external sources. Okay, so first thing first. Okay, you want to open a file. Okay, so we'll talk about text file first. So to perform any kind of operation, first you need to open the file, isn't it? Whether you want to read or see, what you can do with external files, you can either read or write. There's no other third option. You can read or write. So there is a third option called append, basically. Okay. Write means you are writing, whatever is there will get deleted and you are writing from fresh. Append means the previous content is there and you're writing on top of it. So, okay. So you have three modes. Okay. Modes of opening file is either read the content, write, okay, write the content by deleting previous content, and A, okay, add to the existing content, which is like append. This is what append means.
So sort of, if you're dealing with multiple files, take for example, in that case, R is the better method, right?
No, that has nothing to do with multiple files. It's like what do you want? If you want to write to multiple files, you have to do W only. If you are reading multiple files, then you do R.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So the difference between R and W is, okay, if you're opening a file for write, then nobody else can open the file. So let's say if I open the file for write in Python, and then manually I go and click on it, it will say that you have a, some other application has a write protected, right? So when you see, you can, when somebody is writing to a file, then you can't open it multiple places because you will not get to see the actual content. So what it does, it provides a lock on the file. Okay, that is a operating system property. Okay, which will provide a lock so that no file can be opened by more than one person. So sometimes when you have a shared folder, right? Somebody is watching, you will say that somebody is editing and but if you are reading it, same file can be read by 100 people at a time, no problem. So that's why there's a one difference, fine difference between read and write. Okay, write means you are taking control so that nobody can see. The read means you're saying read because I just want to read the content. So there's no lock provided. Anybody can use the file for reading. But if someone has opened it for writing, then you can't read the content. You have to wait for that person to save it and close it. Only then you can read it. Okay, that is one difference. Second difference from programming perspective is if you want to read something, the file has to be there. I cannot say read a book and book is not there. I cannot say read that book, but that book doesn't exist. So the file has to be there. So when I'm opening a file, particular file, that file has to be there if I'm opening in a read mode. But if you're opening in a write mode, then file need not be there because your intention is to write something to the file. So you can open a file, create a new file, write to it and save it. So there is no pre-requirement for write. Okay, file need not be there. If I say open, and what I will do here, I'll create a new folder. Okay, let me create a new folder here and that directory, and I will say test November or whatever. Now this test November is a folder here. Oh, I open in ABC. No, I want to move it to Python. Okay, refactor. Yeah, I have test November. Okay, this is the folder I've created with respect to our current location. Okay, we are here and now at this case, okay, I want to open a file, okay, which is inside test November. So I'll say open, and you can give file in two different ways. One is called absolute path, and second is called relative path. Absolute path is when you give complete file name. Okay, complete file name means you're giving d:/. Okay, so you're including drive name also, CD or whatever, right? Complete path you give. Second type is called relative path. Relative path means where we are. So this is, we are in py18 file, right? And this is the location that you see on your screen. So we are in this location. So with respect to this location, where do you want to go? So our test now is in same location. So I can directly say test November. Okay. Either you give a /, single /. This is how we use in Mac or Linux or Unix. You can use this in Python also. Or if you are giving /, it has to be double /. Why? Yeah, escape, correct. You don't want it to get confused with /n and other things, right? Yes. So here, now I'm giving a file called abc.txt. abc.txt. Correct? Now if I try to write in read mode. So read mode is by default mode, okay? Default mode. Now, whether I mention R or I don't mention R, okay, it is same thing. Now, when I try to run this file, okay, you get error. No such file or directory exists because we are trying to open ABC and there is no ABC file here. So that's why it's not able to open in read mode. I'm saying read the book, but book is not there. So can you read it? No. But if I make it W here, then it will work. Because W means something to write. So write can be from first day also write. Okay. Okay. You are creating a new file. You create a new file and write. So if I run it, see, okay, what happened? Okay. I did not change it to W, right? I'll change it to W. Now, when I change it to W here, okay, you see, the file got created inside this test November. ABC. If you click on ABC talk, there's nothing here, but it got empty file created. That's the beauty of W. Right? Did I answer your question, Apoor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we can have file pointer. This is pointer, or we call it as handle. Okay. You need to have a variable which will have access to this. So when you open the file, we have just opened this file. So best practice is to close it. Okay. You have opened it, then you should close it. When you close it only, the file gets closed. So I'm putting file open and close, and all my logic will be between open and close.
So what is this file PTR?
What is this? Sorry?
File PTR. It's an inbuilt command over there.
No. Which one you are talking about? File?
File PTR, you're just defining it as
Yeah, file PTR, an object.
Okay.
It's an object, right? And so open will open it and it will return an object. That object is stored here, right? We are doing something equal to. That something equal to is up to us, whatever we give. Main thing is open. So this has access to the file and tells you which mode you have opened it. And you have this is like handle, which is pointing towards file with open mode, right mode.
Why do we need to put this dot close at the end? Any specific?
When you're opening a file, you should close the file also, isn't it?
Okay.
You cannot open the file and leave it. Now, if you don't give it, the garbage collector will do it. Okay, we'll close it. But it's always a good practice to close it. Otherwise, what happens? See, if you do not close it, right? And remember, sometimes we leave our laptop on, like, don't shut down for 2-3 days and system becomes slow. Okay. Why does it become slow? Because of these reasons. So you have all these pointers which are open. If you keep them open, it is active in memory. So what do we have to restart computer? When you restart, all those these pointers will be deleted. So when you are using the application, it's always better that when you open something, you close it. When you create something, you destroy it, so that it doesn't take space in the memory. Otherwise, you keep running a program 1 time, 2 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. These variables, unused objects will be hanging in the memory. It's like when you are done, let's say you are doing some work, okay, you are making vegetable curry, right? So you cut the curry and you leave whatever skin and all those things outside. Now, why you should clean it, isn't it? You can choose to keep it like that. But what happens when you leave it like this for 3, 4, 5 days? It starts smelling. Okay, then you have to clean it anyway. So not a good example, but just to make you understand that when you're using these kind of work, and what happens, most of these applications when you design might be running on client machine for days. So these, like, let's say you create a file again, you don't close it. Again, you open it. Again, you open it. What happens? This pointers will be hanging in the memory. Okay, it's like taking space. And when you create 1,000 times, 1,000 such pointers will be in the space, right, in the memory. So your system will become slow. If you do very well programming like this, then your program will run for many, even weeks, months. Still, you will not be able to find problem with it. So it's always a good practice when you create an object, delete it. When you variables also, let's say you're talking about 5 equal to 10. Sorry, not 5. You're talking about num1 equal to 5, for example. Okay. Now, when you're done with num1, just say del num1. That means you're deleting that variable. You no longer need it, and you want to now delete it. Okay. So you have, so you close it. Now we want to write something to this file. Correct? So you have 3 ways to write it. Okay. So this is file mode. And what I'm talking about is writing to text file. Okay. So writing to a text file, you have three options. One is write. Okay. Then you have write lines. Okay.
Sometimes it's, R divide, R/W means read and write.
Okay. Correct. Correct. Okay. So here you have, we don't have R/W, you have R plus. R plus means read and write. W plus means write and read. A plus means append and read. So when you open in W mode, you can't read. I can't read it. But if I open in W plus mode, then I'll be able to read it also. Okay, so it's called write and read. So what is the difference between write and read and read and write and write and read? What do you think will be the difference?
In write mode, it is created and after that you can read, and here.
Correct. Same thing here in write and read. R plus the file has to be there. Okay, even though you are saying write and write, read and write, you are saying read and write. First, you are saying read. So the file has to be there. Okay. And in write and read, file, if it is not there, it will be created. Okay. That's the difference between R plus and W plus. Okay. So you have, you can write to a file using write and write lines. You have to reading the content from a text file. You have the read line, and read lines. Okay, so read line will read only one line at a time. Okay, and read lines will read multiple lines from the text. Okay, so we'll see this. All good so far, right? We have seen how to open the file in different mode, how to access the file, you have a file pointer. Okay, now I'm going to say file pointer dot write. You see, you have write, write lines, and writable. So writable is like asking question, is this file writable? If you open in read mode, R mode, and if you say print file pointer dot writable, it'll give you false. In this case, since we are say W mode, so if I print it, it should give us what? True. That means file is available for us to write. It is writable. So, okay, you get true. Write and write lines will make it, how to write multiple lines. Okay. So now let's say I create a variable here. Okay, as a string variable. I call it as content equal to, and I want to write multi-line, right? So this is how you write multi-line, right? Triple quotation. So I say twinkle, twinkle, little star. How I wonder what you are up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Okay, so let's say these are the 4 lines. Okay, I want to add these 4 lines to the data. So what I will say file ptr dot write, right? And I'll say content. Content. Why it's not giving? Oh,
It is quoted.
Failing, yeah. Okay. So now I'm saying, I can say here, if file writable, then you perform this, right? Otherwise, if file is not writable, then no need to perform write.
सौरभ,
Yes.
ये जो if statement लगाया है is dot writable, इसको अगर ये line हम लोग ना भी लिखें then also it will work, right?
Yeah, it will work. So
Okay,
before I did
this
not
is
put if, right? I just changed to show that you can have, if. So, generally you want to check if file is writable or not. If it is writable only, you will write to it. Otherwise, see, if I put R here, for example, right? And
sir.
in this case, I don't write if. And I try to write the content. What will happen? File is not writable. We get an error. your program will stop. But in this case, if I give if and then okay, so now it did not throw error, isn't it? I can
Yeah.
say something like this here, else, right? Well, okay, print file can't be written, something like that. So the user knows what happened. Otherwise, if I not give if and try to write it directly, then it will throw error. Your program will stop. Now here, the program is proceeding with printing proper message.
उस केस में
Right?
what we can do is कि r plus लिख देते हैं, तो obviously it will be always read plus write,
No,
right?
see, correct. See, if you can open in write mode, then you don't have to check in write mode. But what I'm trying to say is, let's say you don't know, right? Then it's a good idea that you check it before doing it,
Understood.
right? Then check it before doing it. Yeah. Okay. So here, yeah. So what I'll do, I will put W for now, right? We're talking about W. Now we are writing content to it. So when you run it, and now you go to abc.txt, you see twinkle twinkle has been added to it. I go and run it again. What happens? Content is, because when you say write, it will delete the previous content and add a new content. So previous content was deleted and new got added, right? So you don't see any difference. Now instead of W, if I put A,
It will be repeated 2 times.
yes. See, one time.
Next line में क्यों नहीं आया ये twinkle?
क्योंकि लाइन में नहीं है, क्योंकि हमने वहां पे न्यू लाइन नहीं दिया ना. So now let's say, okay, we will go back here and let's say we give a enter. See, हमने यहीं पे stop कर दिया था, तो next print यहीं से होगा. If you get enter, so that means now it will print from the next line.
Okay. I thought कि मतलब वो next line automatically it will go off.
So now if I do write again, the previous content will be deleted. New one got added. Now I'm saying A. Okay, so every time it should start from the next line. Correct? I go here and run 1, 2, 3. So I ran 3 more times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Make sense?
Sort of 5 times आने के लिए what command you have written? But can you go?
नहीं, आप जितने बार run करोगे उतने बार आएगा ना. I ran it 5 times, that's why I got 5 times.
अच्छा ठीक.
Okay, you click one more time, you get one more time. So it's appending to the previous content. So I have run it 5 times, that's why I got 5 times. All right. So this is about writing. So you write using write, or you have write lines, right? Now write lines uses list method. Okay. So if I have a content, if I want to use write lines, I have to use it in a list way. So let's say I want to create another, okay, so this is your text, right? Will not disturb. Let's say I put content list or something. Okay. So first line I'm putting Baba black sheep. Okay. Our black sheep, do you have any rule? I don't know. Do you have any rule? यही है ना? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have you enabled DVO की जगह?
That's good, right? Now, see, I have not given any new line in it. I've just put 4 lines. So what I'll do before closing, okay, I will add one more thing to it. I'm saying file pointer dot write lines. Write lines, what did I say? It will take value as list. So count list. Now, when you run it, okay, you go back and see what happened. Baba, black sheet, do you have any rule? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bags. It got printed in one line. If you want to get printed in multiple different lines, you need to give /n here. /n /n. Okay, now you run it. Okay, this is Baba black sheep, previous one. Now see, this one got added in different line. So if you have an entire content, if you want to print it, if you want to write it as it is, if you want to write it as it is, you will use write. If you have content in a list format, then you have to use write lines.
So Saurabh, ये जो same read write append का process है, it will work for CSV also the same way. The way
We'll do
it
it.
is
Yes,
work-
no, hold on, no. First, let's
I was
understand.
thinking कि it is used for
No,
both.
hold on. We're not done, right? So hold on.
Okay.
Okay. We have done only write part. We have not done the read part so far. Correct? So let's wait. Let's wait. Okay. So
Same for the tuple or anything like that.
no, it needs list format. So you can have to give in list formats only. So it accepts list format. So you have to give in list format. If you have tuple, convert into list before adding. Okay. Why it says list format is because the value can change. It can be 4 lines, 5 lines, 6 lines. Tuple means the size generally we don't change, isn't it? Right? Okay. So now we have to do same thing in read mode. So what I'll say, I'll keep it like this. We'll open same file again. Okay, so I'm saying open the file for reading. Okay, and I'll put R. Okay, and I can check here. Just like you have writable, you have readable option also. Okay, readable. If it is readable, only then we will read it. Otherwise, we will say not readable. Okay, and we will close the file. Okay, now for reading, we have again 3 options. For writing, we had only 2 options, write and write lines. So either you write everything at one go or you write per line. Here we have read line and read lines. So I'm saying, okay, my content, just to differentiate it from content, my content equal to file pointer dot read. Okay, I'm saying dot read. And after closing, I will print. So I'm printing, okay, and here I'll say print my content. I'm reading the file and printing that file onto the screen. You see, entire content is read and printed onto your screen. So read will read entire content from your file. And this is read as a string. So to manipulate, you can use all your string knowledge to manipulate this. Right? So I read as my content, but I want to replace twinkle with capital Twinkle. Right? So we need to apply, what is the logic here? You say my content dot replace, okay, and you say Twinkle with Twinkle, right? I'm replacing this cap and small words with all caps, right? Now when you run it, now this is only for, what happened? Did I get spelling wrong? Twinkle. Okay, okay. No. You have to replace also, right? Content will not be changed. Okay. So at that line it is changed. Now I'm replacing the content. Now you get Twinkle. Now see, Twinkle is all capital. Okay. Twinkle is all capital now. Okay. So I'm replacing. Yes.
We are replacing that my content, but why again we have kept that my content is still.
We're going back to the string class. This is strings. Strings are what? Mutable or immutable. That means you cannot change the content of, you cannot edit the content. So when I say my content dot replace, at this piece only it is getting changed. So my content is not changed. My content is not editable. So you have to say my content equal to. When you say equal to, that means you're deleting the existing my content and adding the my content. Okay. Or if you don't want to do it, here itself you say print. Okay. Here itself you say print. Okay. So you will get Twinkle here capital. But actual my content, it is still lowercase only. So here for printing, it is printing Twinkle capital. But actual my content is not changed. So to replace my existing my content, I'm going to say my content equal to my content dot replace. Automatically, this replace will not happen in string because strings are immutable. So automatically those things will not happen. When you do upper lowercase, it only does at that moment. Actual content is not changed. If you want to change the actual content, then you have to use that variable name equal to variable name dot upper, lower, or title, whatever. Okay, it is immutable, so it will not work. Right? So the point I'm trying to make here is once you read the content, then up to you how you manage. Okay, the purpose is somebody has sent you a text file, you are able to read it in Python. Now you use your strings knowledge to play with the content. Okay. Okay. Now, okay. What I want to do is I want to perform all this before closing this. I want to perform everything inside this. Now I want to read again and I want to do something else. Okay, so I want to read my content again. And I will say here, print second reading. Okay. And now I say here, my content equal to 5.read, print my content. You see this second reading, it has not read. My content is blank. It's not printed. What do you think might have happened? What do you think might have happened?
I guess we are using
So,
read command. That's why it's just read the file, not written anything.
okay. So see, I give you a book to read. Okay. And after you read the book, I tell you read again. So you have already read the book, right? There's nothing more to read now. I said read the book. Again, I will say read the book. You read the book fully because I told you to read the book. And now again, so you're on the last page. Again, if I tell you to read, what will you read? Nothing, because you're already on the last page. Correct? So once you said read, it has read the entire content. Now there's nothing more to read. If you keep on saying read, there's nothing more to read. That's why when I say second reading, okay, it says nothing because I'm already on the last page, last character, nothing else to read. Okay, so there is an option called file seek. Seek is a function using which you can move around. I'll say, okay, read from beginning. The moment I say read from beginning, that means I'm telling you to go to beginning and read again. So I will say here, go to beginning. How do you go to beginning? File pointer dot seek 0. Go to the position 0. Now I'm saying read. Now you can read it. I am saying go to the first page and read again. Let's say, okay, let me go to the first page and read again. You're able to read it again second time. So you're going to the first position and reading again. Make sense? So file seek is a function using which you can move around in the file without actually reading or writing. You can say go to position 10, go to position 15, go to character 20, go to character 30. If I say go to character 30, it will go to 30th character and you will print it from the 30th character. First 29 or 30 rather, 0 to 29, right? So first 30 character will be hidden, will not be read. So using seek, you can move around in a file. Using seek, you can move around in a file without much problem. So seek will not force you to either read or write. So, okay, you want me to move, I will move around. It's like go to page 30. Okay, I'll go to page 30. Seek 30, go to character in this case, not page, but character. It go to the character 30. Okay, so this is your read. Okay, now what I'll do, I will open the file again for reading purpose. Or okay, I can read it here itself. Okay, I will say file ptr 0. Okay, go to first position. Go to first position. Now I'm saying content equal to file ptr dot read line. Okay, so I'll say print here. I'm working with read line. Now, when you say read line means you're reading how many lines? Only one line. Okay, so it will read one line. Again, I will say read line. Again, read line. Okay, so what happens? So, okay, you are moving it to file pointer 0. Okay, and where you read line? You get error? No error, right? What happened? Something has gone wrong. Read line. Okay, this is your read line. See, I'm saying content, I'm printing my content. How will it work? I think here it's good, right? Here only I made a mistake. I'm saying content equal to, and then I'm reading my printing my content. That's what happened. Why it's here. Yeah, you see this. Content equal to file ptr.read line. First line is red. Twinkle twinkle is red. Now I'm saying read line. Second time I'm saying read line. Second line is red. Third time I'm saying read line. The third line is red. So if you want to read one line at a time, then you can put line. I can put that in a loop. Okay, so that you will read each line at a time. You can check the number of lines and then read the content. Okay, now let's say I don't want to read the entire line. I want to read only 20 characters of read line. If you want to read only 20 characters of read line, put here 20. So now when you run it, first it read entire line. Second line, it read 20 because you said 20. It read 20. After reading 20, it stopped. Now again, I'm saying read line. In which line are you in? You're still in second line. So I'm telling you to read entire second line. So what is left is U space R. Did you understand? So 20 means I'm saying you to read 20 characters. So when you read 20 characters, you're still in line number 2. So next time when I tell you to read entire line, you will read the entire content in that line. Okay. Now, if I say 200, now this line does not have 200 characters. So what it will read? Okay, it will read the entire line. Okay, because you said 200, but it has only, let's say, 30 characters, let's say. So it read only 30. Okay, so if you say less than 30, it will read less than 30. But if you say more than 30, it will read only maximum 30, because you're saying in this line, you read 200 characters. But that line has only 20 characters, 30 characters. So it will read only 30. So if you give less than 30, it will read less than 30. But if you give more than 30, it will read only 30 only, because 30 is the maximum character that line has. So when next time when I say read line, because we have read entire content here in line number 2, so the line number 3 is now printed here. Okay, this is.
Can we count how many number of lines are there?
Bilkul. I'll tell you how to do that. But before that, let's go to another this thing called read, and we'll give characters here. Just like you had read, right? Read line with character. Let's say read. Now I say, if I say read, it will read entire content, entire rest of the content. 3 lines we have read. So read will read from the 4th line entire thing. But I will say only 200. If I say 200, it will read first 200 characters. So it has read 200 characters here. Okay, it has read 200 characters. So this is how your seek works, read line works, read works. Read line and read can have values that we need to pass here. Now, if you want to read all the lines, then we have something called as, what I'll do, I will say file pointer dot seek equal to 0. Okay, I'm going back to the first line. Now I'm saying content lines equal to file ptr dot lines, read lines. Okay, read lines. Okay, the moment I say read lines, it will read entire lines, and the output will be given in the format of list. Just like we give input to the right line, correct? We'll give you read line. And if you want to know the total number of lines, which is equal to the size of your content lines. So lines is a list of all the values. Len of this will give you total number of lines that this list has. So 136 lines we have. And this is your read line output. Line slash n, line slash n, line slash n. Okay. If I run it again, 144, because the right code is also there above there. Right? So it's every time you're running it, it's writing on file. Yeah. So 8 lines it's writing. 4 lines of twinkle twinkle and 4 lines of Baba Black Sheep. It's writing. Every time you run, 8 lines is getting added, and each of the line can be put as a one single list. On you can say len of, so this will give you the number of lines in your content, file content. Okay, so this is how your reading text file works.
Then we read the length of one.
List, no, this is a list, content line. Content line is output of this. This is your content line. So len of a list will give you how many values are there in the list. It's a len function which we did in the beginning. So it will tell you how many members are there in this list. So this entire thing, quotation is 1. Basically, look at the comma, right? If you have 1 comma, that means you have 2 members. If you have 3 comma, that means you have 4 members. So 144 means it will have 143 commas. Okay. So this is how you read text file. Any question? Yes, CSV will be easier than this. Okay. So okay. So working with CSV files. First thing first, you have to import CSV. Okay, because reading external files just need open, read, write. Okay, read, write, open is available. Okay, basically open you need. Okay, here you need to open a file and also you need to indicate that it is a CSV file. So we need to use CSV. Now here also you have same different types of mode. Okay, exactly same mode. Okay, read or read plus. Okay, W or W plus. Okay, A or A plus. Okay, different modes of files to read. Okay, now so let's talk about a new file. Okay, we call it as CSV file. Okay, so how do you open it? File ptr equal to open, and I want to say abc.csv. Okay, let me put it in the same folder. We put it in the same folder. Test November. Okay, so test November. Now in this way, you don't have to do double slash. One single slash is enough. Forward slash, one single is enough. It's not backward slash. It's not your escape sequence. So I'm saying inside test November, create this. And now if I run it, obviously I'll get error because
This file is not there in the path.
file is not there. Yes. So I will put this as a write. Okay, and file ptr dot close. Now, when you open this file is now writable. Okay, but to write it, we need to use csv.writer. Okay. So I'll create another object called CSV writer. Okay. Now this CSV writer, okay, needs to do CSV dot writer. Okay. So it needs csv.writer. So we need csv.writer. So csv is a module which has a function called writer. CSV is a module which has a function called writer. Okay. So I'm saying csv.writer. Now this is independent of your file pointer. csv.writer. Okay. To write into a CSV file, we need to use csv.writer. Now this csv.writer takes two parameters. First parameter is your access to your files. Which has access to your files? File pointer. Okay, so you're writing to a file pointer. Right? Great. Now, okay, so it needs access to file pointer. Perfect. Now, to write, we need to write each row, isn't it? So we will pass each row as a list, let's say. So I'll say content list equal to, so you have master list, then within this, for each row, we will have list. So let's say you want to add 4 lines. So first we will add, okay, we will add a serial number. Okay, so let's write this. Serial number, name, city, runs, let's say. Now in second, serial number will say 1, Rohit, Mumbai, 3,500. Okay. Now you say 2, Virat, Delhi, 4,210. 3, Lakshman, Hyderabad. Okay, so this is the data that I want to write to the CSV. So to write to this CSV, I will have to read each line. How do I read each line? I have to say for I in content list. So when I say for I in content list, I becomes first time this row, then second time this row. So this loop will run how many times? 4 times. This loop will run 4 times, and each time your inner list is the value of I, right? So now I'll say for I in content list, okay, and the CSV writer that we have, this object you have to call and say write row, and you have write rows also. Okay, you can write multiple rows, but I'll give write row first, and I'll put I here. Okay, now when you run it, abc.csv is open. Now when you go and click on it, you see serial number, okay, name, Rohit Mumbai, okay, is got added here. If you want to see this in a CSV format, you can always go to okay, just I'll open it and then I'll share. Okay, 1 second, guys, on online data set. No, sorry, it is where is this file created? C users HP, yeah. C users D, okay. C users. PyCharm projects, Python project, and we created test November. Okay. So see, this is the location where we added abc.csv. When you double click on it, When you double click on it, it will open this. Right. So this will open your CSV file here like this. Okay, you can see this CSV file here. Right? So you see the here, what happened? It added, but it added up.
Yeah.
Yes, can you, Apur?
Yeah, same question I think you are talking about. Space क्यों आया है मतलब by each line.
Right. Okay. So it added, okay, like a CSV file, but it added a blank line. Okay, because we gave, okay, data in each line, correct? So each line is adding an extra line here. So in this case, what we will do, okay, I will take you back to the program. Okay, so when you are writing to this, right, file PTR, you have to indicate here your line. Okay, so if I'm saying, okay, I think it's here. Okay, when you open this and you say here new line equal to blank. I don't want to insert it. So this writer will introduce a new line. I'm setting it to blank. Okay, so new line equal to blank in file open. Now when you run it and you click that abc.csv, see the blank line is gone. So this is how you can write, or you can also say here, okay, file PTR. Okay, here I will say CSV writer, write rows, and I'll give content list. Just to make sure that, you know, this is being used, I'll put here 4. Just one difference to show that it is using this. Let's run it and see what happens. abc.csv, you see, 4. So if you have content already in a list, you can actually say write rows and entire content will be written to your CSV file. Okay, for removing that blank line, in the open itself, you will say new line equal to blank. So it will ignore the new lines. It will not automatically add new line.
इसमें एक चीज सुनने से जब आपने आई फॉर लूप हटा दिया देन
नहीं
हाउ
डाला ना, मैंने डायरेक्टली इसको पास कर दिया लिस्ट को.
हाँ तो
using write rows, you can pass the entire list. If
this
you
is
want to write row, each row, then you have to pass each row in the for loop.
okay. Otherwise, write rows seems to be a better option than write.
If you already have data in that format, then this is the best option. If you already have in this format, okay, in the list format, list of list, then you use directly this one, no, write rows. Okay. Okay. Now let's do one more stuff, which is reading. Correct? We need to read from this, right? So we'll open this same thing. Okay. In this case, we don't have to give this. Here I will say read. For read line, you don't have to give new line, right? We want to read each line, or you don't give itself, right? You don't give this. Default option is read. Okay. So you are reading this content, right? So, okay, so here it will be CSV. Okay, so let me delete it. Okay. In fact, I can delete both of these lines. Okay, so you have opened the file. Now we have to do the read. So I'm going to write CSV reader equal to CSV dot reader. You have writer. Now you're going to use reader. Reader, it will need, it just needs the file name. Right? Now, in this case, the date, so CSV, 99% it will have comma separated files. The name starts with comma separated, but some files might have other characters also, semicolon, hyphen, whatever. So we give that here in terms of delimiter. I'm saying use comma delimiter to read. Okay, if your file has semicolon or pipe or something else to as a delimiter, you can pass it here. Same thing. Okay, if you want your file that you are writing to have delimiter as something else, okay, you can give that delimiter here. I'm using commas, I'm giving comma only. If you want to give semicolon and delimiter, you can give semicolon and delimiter. Similarly, in read, your file, whatever your file has, because we're reading now, right? So whatever your file has. So in case.
So it will have both comma, semicolon, or tab.
No. See, one file will not have all three.
Not all.
No. Comma. See, that's confusion. Your one file will have tab, or everything, all the value separated will have tab or comma or semicolon or pipe. You cannot have somewhere pipe, somewhere comma. Okay. If you have somewhere pipe, somewhere comma, then how will format understand what is the delimiter? No. If your file has tab separated, then it will have only tab separated. Then you can give tab here, /t for tab or semicolon. Okay. One file will have only one type of delimiter. You cannot have multiple delimiter in one file. Okay.
So यहाँ पे comma लगाने की जरूरत ही नहीं because वो
By
default पे
default, it is comma. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right? By default, it is comma, so you don't have to. But some cases, comma may not be there, right? Then you will have to. Okay. Default value for delimiter is comma. Default value for delimiter is comma. But if you do not have comma something else, then you have to indicate that use semicolon, use pipe, use tab as a delimiter. Yes? Okay, great. So now, okay, so now again, what you have to do is you have to say CSV reader dot so the entire content is in CSV reader. So if I say print CSV reader, okay, so the moment you say reader, right, entire content got added in this CSV reader. And this is like an object. How do you get the values from the object? Okay, you can say for I in CSV reader. Okay, that means each I is going to be the each row. You can say I here. Here I'll say print reading the CSV file. Okay. So you can read each line here. Now again, now it depends upon your knowledge of list. Okay, how to process this output. I want to print only names. I want to print only Rohit, Virat, and Lakshman. So you know that your first value is going to be title. We don't want that. We don't want first row. And from second row, you only want the second member, right? So again, as I said, it depends upon your skills of list tuple. So here I will say I equal to 0, and I will say if I equal to 0, then ignore. Then I'll say I plus equal to 1. I'm making I, okay. So, okay, I cannot use same variable here. Let's say I put count here. Okay. So if count, I is the row in the CSV. Count is, we are tracking the count of this. So if this is first row, we are saying make count equal to 1. And from second row, you print. So now you see here in this case, your titles will be gone. Only the values will be printed. Okay, only values got printed. Now I want to print only names. So I'll say 1. Right? Ultimately, it is your list skills that will help you to read and manipulate your CSV data. Okay, so this is how you will read CSV file, CSV data.
It read only the one column, like.
Because I gave 1 no, so it's reading only second column.
And if we want to read the one row,
We are reading a row here, no?
only one row I want.
Only one row, so then you break it, no? For loop ko break kar do. I want only one row, so I will say done and then break. Break means loop will stop, correct? So now you break it. So you only get the first value and the loop stops.
Only I want like one row.
Same thing I'm saying. You use your loop skills and list skills. That's what you have to do. You have to use your logic, where to apply break, how to apply break, which value to read. So it is nothing to do with CSV file. It is do with your loop ka knowledge, if ka knowledge, list ka knowledge. That's what you need. Correct? You can put one, just like you have put here, you can put here also, no break. Yeah. Okay. So this is how you perform read and write in CSV file. Okay. So now we'll talk about how to work with JSON file. Correct? Now, what is a JSON file? JSON file is a newer file format, just like CSV. CSV has been used for many, many decades now. Okay. Now people are finding JSON as a new file format. Okay. So maybe in future you might get data in JSON. Okay. JSON is more acceptable form of reading values. Okay. So what happens? Okay. If you look at it, it looks exactly like your dictionary data of Python. So your JSON will always have curly bracket open and close. All your data will be within this. So let's say I put player 1 data. So I'll say player 1 colon, okay, and then you can have values here for player 1, comma, you can have player 2 values here. Now, player 1, you can have name. Okay, so name is a text. So name colon, you can have, let's say, Sachin. Okay. Why it's giving error? Am I? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's see this. Okay. Okay, let's see. Maybe I might have made any mistake, but I just want to first finish off this and see, okay, what could have gone wrong. So name, let's say I put Rahul and I say Bangalore. Okay, so I say JSON equal to. Okay.
That layer also just in the curly bracket.
Here, right? Yes, you're right. You're right. That's why I got this away. Because this is your, again, okay. So your key comma value should be in a string, in a curly bracket one. Okay, let me take only one for now. Okay, then we can add something similar here. I don't know. Yes. Okay. So you got player one, and this is the data. You can have runs or whatever. Okay, you should have comma here. So this is your file format, JSON file format. Okay, data will be in string, and you can have like key colon value. Now value also has key colon value. Whenever you have key colon, right, it should be in a curly bracket. Okay, so this is your JSON file format. Now, okay, to work with JSON, you also need to import JSON. Okay, now there are 4 options here. Okay, in text file we saw 5 options: read, read line, read lines, write, write lines. 5 options. In CSV we saw 2 options: CSV.reader, CSV.writer. Here you have 4 options. Okay, in JSON you have 4 options, and these are your dump, dumps, load, loads. These are the 4 functions that we have to understand. Now, dump means dumping, writing, isn't it? The equivalent of writing and writer is dump in JSON. Okay, to dump you will say, to save, to write you will say dump, and load is to read. So load is like reader, okay, and dump is like writer, writing, okay, writing. This is reading, okay, and this is reading. Now then, what's the difference between S and without S? How I remember is you treat S as screen. So if you want to write to a screen onto your output, you say dumps. If you want to write to a file, JSON file, then you say dump. Dump is to dump to a JSON file. Dumps is to dump onto the screen. You want to print on the screen.
This is just for showing.
This is for
It dumps is for just showing. It is
showing.
Not,
Yes.
it is not writing.
Not writing. Dump is to write. Okay, to write to a file, you use dump. Load is to read from the file, and loads is to read from your Python program or to the screen. Or you can say string. Okay, S also means string. So you declare JSON as a string. If you have a data, JSON data in a string format, then you use loads. To read from a string format, S for string or for screen or Python. If it is in string format, then you read as a loads. If it is in a file, then you read as load. If you want to write to a file, we say dump. If you want to write to the screen, then you will say dumps, or write to a string value, you will say dumps. Dumps will help you to write to a string value or to the screen. Okay. And load is to read. So as usual, let's first write the content to a file. Okay, so we have already created this JSON. This is a JSON object. I'll say JSON1. Okay, not to confuse with JSON as the keyword, we'll say JSON1. JSON1 value is this, and I want to save this in a file. Okay, so to save this in a file, what should I use? Yes, dump. Writing to a file. Okay, reading from a file. Reading from string. Okay, writing to string. Okay. So you need to import JSON. I think we already imported JSON. Just like your CSV file, okay, we need to first open the file. Okay, and okay. So because we're writing to a file, correct? So first we will see dump and load. Okay, then we will see about load, dumps and loads. So if you want to read from a file, you need to define the file, correct? You need to define the file and then read it, isn't it? So we want to first show which file you want to read. So just like your CSV, we have to open this file. File PTR equal to open. And I want to open test November slash abc.json. Let's call abc.json here. This is the file I want to write. Okay, so first, then I have to open in write mode, right? So we are creating a file pointer, and to close this file pointer, you have to say file pointer dot close. Perfect. We are sorry.
Instead of dump.
ये फाइल ओपन कर रहे हैं ना, ओपन मोड. फाइल ओपन मोड क्या है? RWA. We are not writing yet. Writing will happen in next step. Okay, you're opening the file. See this file open. You have to first open the file, isn't it? File open is a operating system process. Right? How you write is Windows, Excel, whatever. To open the file, you always double click, isn't it, to open the file? So think of this as that double click, opening the file. You're opening the file. And you're saying that you want to write to this file. That's why we say W. Same thing we did in CSV also. In the next step, we use CSV writer. In the next step, we will use dump. Okay. In the next step, we will use dump. Okay. So now that you have this data, okay, and our data that we have that we want to write is JSON1, isn't it? So I'm going to copy this variable here. And here I will say, so when you are dumping, we don't have to store this. See, in CSV, we had to store this in an object because we had to say write row later. Here, writer is enough to send the data. We don't have to say write row, or dump is enough. So we don't have to say something equal to. But if you want, you can say equal to. So, so here you will use JSON dot dump. JSON dot dump. Now in JSON dot dump, you will give the variable, the content that is there, JSON. And now the file pointer. First, the content of the JSON file, then the file pointer. Okay. Now when you run it, so hopefully, okay, see data1.json. Double click on it. See, it added the no. This is not the one. This is not what we created. Ours is test now. This is test one. Test November. abc.json. So see, it added the entire content here. But what it did, it added in a single line. Because we said dump, it dumped in a single line. So if you want it to dump it like the way we write JSON file, okay, that is using indentation. So you say here, indent equal to, how many spaces you want to give? I want to say 4 spaces. Indent equal to 4. So now when you run this JSON, you see it added 4 spaces here. We have this information. So this is called dumping, okay, writing to a file. Next step is to read from the file. Okay, so we will say here, dump writing to a file. Now into read from a file. So what function should we use? Load. Okay. So abc.json here will say R, or you don't have to give, not compulsory. Okay. Now here, since I'm reading, I need to save as some variable, right? The content of that will be given to us, from that file will be given to us. And you say load. Okay. To read it, it just needs the file pointer. It doesn't need the value. Value will come from the file pointer, isn't it? So this is how you do load, right? And you want to print the content, you can print it. Okay, so I'm saying printing from the file content. See, it is printing here. Okay, but if you want to really print it onto the screen, what should we use? Dumps. Writing to a screen. Writing to the screen, right? So we are reading from the file. The content is read, but now we need to dump it to the screen. So this has read this content, but to see it, you have to dump. Okay, so you have to use dumps here. So I will say print JSON.dumps. So I will say here writing in JSON format on the screen. So dumps. Okay. Now what does dumps has? The connection, right? What do you want to do? The content I want to dump, isn't it? So content. Now when you run it, okay, it dumped the content onto the screen. But this is not in the JSON format, right? So I'll say indent equal to 4. Here, since dumping is to read the content and dumping onto the screen, right? We don't have to give file format. We are not reading from the file. You see, it dumped onto your screen here. So we have seen dump, okay, writing to a file. Then we read the content from the file. Using load, you want to see the output, you have to say dumps. What is left? Loads. So we will load from the screen, and then let's say we'll write to the file again. Okay, so we still have to do loads here, correct? Okay, so what I'll do, this is the string. Okay, so I will take this data and I will say JSON string equal to. Okay, now one thing you have to remember, since this is Python, this has printed in single quote here, but JSON accepts only double quote. Okay, so I can show you. Okay, let's say this is string. Now we want to do what? Loads. Okay, we want to convert this into a, so this is a simple string, and this string needs to be converted into JSON format. If I do the type of this, I will get what? I'll get string. So I want to convert this string format into a JSON format. Okay, so this is the data in string. Convert above, sorry. Triple quote का मतलब क्या होता है? Huh? That's what I'm saying. No, I've declared as a string only. No. Okay. See, you are already using single quote here, so I can't use single quote. And I told you I'll have to change this double quote because this will throw error. I wanted to show you the error. This will throw error. So see, so single and double I can't use. I have to use triple A here. So convert above string into JSON format. Okay. So we have to use loads, right? So JSON will say JSON. Okay. So that is JSON string. This is JSON. Okay. So content in JSON format. So you will say JSON dot loads, right? Then what? JSON string. That is it. It is now converted into JSON format. Okay. How do you want to see? You want to see it onto the screen? It is converted. Either you put it in a file or you put it in a screen. So I will first put it in file, let's say. So you use same file format? No. So evolve JSON content we will display on the screen and also save to the file. Okay. So file pointer JSON, since we are saving, we have to write W. W will delete the old content and write the new content, isn't it? Or you can do append to, to use it, to append it, right? So we will use this JSON to dump as well as dumps onto the screen. So you can simply copy the content here, right? So you say print JSON dumps. So this content is JSON, right? Not just content, JSON. So I want to display onto the screen, and then to save into file, you will say JSON.dump. That's it. Okay. So let's run it. Exit error 1. Expecting property. So I told you, enclosed double quotes. Okay, this will always, so okay, this is a JSON format. JSON does not have single quotation for string. JSON has double quotation only. It's not Python. Okay. So in JSON, when you are writing here, okay, it should be in double quotation only. I cannot put it in single quotation. JSON is always in double quotation. So here you don't have it. That's why you got error as, enclosed quotation. Okay. So what we have to do, we have to convert everything into okay. You see, this is printed here, and you can go and check your JSON format also. Here, it's saved into this format. If you want to see this, whether is it just copying and pasting the previous one, I'll just change the value here to 15,000. Okay, just to see that the value is updated in JSON. What happened? 15,000, correct? And you want to see the JSON? Okay, so it is not getting updated. Why? Let's go and check. This is not working because we said JSON 1. It is JSON, not JSON 1. Now when you run it, 15,000. Okay, so we have seen dumps, loads in JSON. So this is how you can. So once you read it, right, now it is it is read like a dictionary. Your CSV files are read like a list. JSON files are read like a dictionary. Dictionary, colon, yeah, concept here. CSV file, forgot. CSV files are read as list. Text files are read as? Correct. Text files are read as strings. CSV files are read as list. And JSON files are read as string. So if you want to manipulate on JSON files, you need to use your dictionary concept. Whatever you have learned in dictionary, those functions you can apply. If you want to manipulate CSV to data, then you have to use your list knowledge. If you have to manipulate your text data, then you need to know string properties. Okay, so we have already done string, list, and dictionary. Same concept we have to apply to manipulate once you read into your Python. Once you read, you process, and then you want to write it back, you can write it back, or you want to append it, you can append it. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. Any question here so far? Good. Now, can we do a project assignment? Mini assignment we'll do. Okay, so assignment. Assignment is read India and South Africa today's match data as a CSV. Okay, so you have to write. Okay, so it's like write using Python. Okay, that is csv.writer. So you need to decide, okay, the file format that you want to write into. Okay, and then after doing this, I want you to tell me, then use reader to answer following question. Question number 1. Who is the top scorer? Who is the highest wicket taker? Who has the best bowling average? And who has the best strike rate? Okay, so I want you to read the data of all the 10 or 11 or 12 bowlers that they might use today. All the bowlers data, all the batsmen's data. Okay, minimum, you don't have to put everything. Data you should write as a CSV file. Okay, and then read the CSV file to give me this answer. So one print statement should be enough to tell me who is the top scorer. Make sense? Okay.
Okay, Saurabh. Thanks.
Yeah. So this is what I want you to do. Okay, and try. We will solve it if you're not able to get it in the next session.